Elowen Harmonique. The workshop smelled of bronze and salt spray, a peculiar combination reflecting Elowen Harmonique's life. Days bled into one another, each occupied with the meticulous construction of kinetic sculptures, delicate, wind-powered forms that mimicked the ebb and flow of the tides. She wasn't a creator of static beauty, but of transient, ephemeral grace. Her small coastal cottage, perched precariously on the cliffs overlooking the turbulent sea, was filled with half-finished works, intricate mechanisms poised between stillness and motion. She lived a solitary existence, content with the rhythm of the waves and the challenge of coaxing life into inanimate metal. Each piece was a conversation with the sea, a translation of its moods into tangible form. It was a good life, a quiet life, a life of predictable, almost meditative repetition. It began with the salvage. A storm, fiercer than any she'd known, unearthed a section of the ancient submerged library. Legends spoke of a repository of knowledge lost to the sea centuries ago. Among the wreckage, she found not scrolls or books, but a single obsidian orb. It wasn't the orb itself that changed things, but the resonance she felt when she touched it. A coldness spread through her, not unpleasant, but profoundly different. Suddenly, she didn't just see the movement of the wind, she felt it within her bones. The currents swirling, not just around her sculptures, but through her. The world became a symphony of kinetic energy, overwhelming, dizzying, and deeply unsettling. At first, it was playful. She could anticipate the gusts before they arrived, subtly adjusting her sculptures to catch the faintest breeze, creating dances of impossible complexity. Then she began to experiment. Closing her eyes, she focused on a nearby sculpture, willing it to move, not with wind power, but with her intention. It worked. The metal limbs responded, flexing and turning with unnatural grace. She could amplify the slightest vibrations, turning a gentle tremor into a powerful surge. It was intoxicating, this newfound connection to the world's energy. She pushed further, attempting to influence larger objects, the flow of water in the bay, the flight of seabirds. Each success felt like a transgression, a violation of the natural order. The tremors started small, barely perceptible shifts in the earth. Then they grew stronger, coinciding with her more ambitious attempts to manipulate the kinetic energy around her. She realized, with growing horror, that her ability wasn't simply influencing the world, it was drawing energy from it, disrupting the delicate balance. A local fishing boat vanished during a sudden, localized squall, a storm that appeared out of nowhere and vanished just as quickly. The guilt was crushing. She'd sought to understand the ocean's energy, but instead she'd become a threat to it, and to those who depended on it. The power felt less like a gift now, and more like a curse. Old Silas, the lighthouse keeper, was the closest thing Elowen had to a confidant. He'd spent his life observing the sea, and possessed a quiet wisdom that she desperately needed. She told him everything, omitting only the details of the obsidian orb, fearing he'd dismiss her as mad. He listened patiently, his weathered face betraying nothing. When she finished, he spoke of ancient lore, of beings who could channel the earth's energies, and the disastrous consequences when that power was wielded without restraint. He directed her to the archives of a secluded monastery, perched high in the cliffs, suggesting they might hold answers to her plight. The monastery was a fortress of silence and rigid dogma. The monks, cloistered and austere, spoke of her ability as a manifestation of demonic influence, demanding she renounce her unnatural gifts. They offered a ritual, a cleansing, promising to sever her connection to the earth's energy. Desperate for relief, she agreed. The ritual was brutal, a draining ordeal that left her weak and trembling. But it didn't work. The connection remained, stronger than before, fueled by their fear and condemnation. She realized, with chilling clarity, that they hadn't sought to help her, but to control her, to extinguish a power they couldn't understand. She fled the monastery, feeling betrayed and utterly alone. She returned to her workshop, no longer seeking to control the energy, but to understand it. She abandoned her ambitious projects, focusing instead on small, intricate pieces, sculptures that worked with the natural currents, amplifying them rather than dominating them. She learned to feel the flow of energy, to anticipate its fluctuations, to harmonize with its rhythms. It was a slow, painstaking process, a surrender of control, but it brought a sense of peace she hadn't known before. The tremors ceased, the storms subsided, and a fragile balance was restored. She wasn't a master of the sea's energy, but a conduit, a translator, a humble servant of its immense power. Years passed. Years passed. Elowen sculptures became renowned, not for their complexity, but for their subtle beauty, their ability to capture the ephemeral grace of the ocean. She used her ability not to create grand displays, but to subtly influence the tides, protecting the coastline from erosion, guiding lost ships to safety. The obsidian orb remained hidden, a constant reminder of the power she wielded and the responsibility she bore. She wasn't a hero nor a saint, but a guardian, a silent protector of the sea, her art a testament to the enduring power of harmony and respect, a whisper of the sunken library carried on the wind.